Let me ask you something. How many times have you told yourself, "I'll get started tomorrow," or "I work better under pressure"? We've all been there. You have that important task looming over you, and instead of diving into it, you find yourself mindlessly scrolling through your phone, binge-watching a show, or doing anything but the task you need to finish. Here's the cold truth. Procrastination is not just a harmless habit, it's a destructive cycle that's slowly chipping away at your productivity, your potential, and your peace of mind. The worst part? Procrastination doesn't just delay your tasks, it builds anxiety, guilt, and stress. The longer you wait, the heavier the task feels, and the more pressure you put on yourself. But here's the good news. You can break free from this cycle. In fact, once you understand why you procrastinate and learn some simple strategies to overcome it, you can stop procrastination in its tracks and take back control of your time, your focus, and your life. By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to stop procrastinating for good and start taking action with confidence. Let's dive in. The real reason we procrastinate. First, let's talk about what's really going on when we procrastinate. Most people think procrastination is just about being lazy or unmotivated, but that's not the whole story. At its core, procrastination is a way of avoiding discomfort. It's not that you don't want to get things done. It's that the task at hand feels overwhelming, uncertain, or unpleasant. When you procrastinate, you're not actually avoiding the task. You're avoiding the feeling that comes with the task. Maybe it's the fear of failure, the anxiety of not knowing where to start, or the frustration of doing something difficult. So instead of tackling the discomfort head-on, your brain seeks out quick hits of pleasure and relief. Things like social media, TV, or even cleaning your room. Anything that feels easier than facing the task. Once you understand this, everything changes. You realize that procrastination is just your brain trying to protect you from discomfort, not laziness. And here's where the magic happens. When you learn to manage that discomfort and shift your mindset around procrastination, you can break free from the cycle. Step 1. Break the task into smaller, manageable pieces. One of the biggest reasons we procrastinate is because we see a task as this huge, insurmountable mountain. The bigger the task seems, the harder it is to start, and that leads to procrastination. So how do you tackle that overwhelming feeling? You break the task down into tiny, manageable pieces. Let's say you've got a big project due. Instead of focusing on the entire project, start by breaking it down into the smallest possible steps. Can you spend just 10 minutes outlining the project? Can you write the introduction? Can you make a simple to-do list? When you break a big task into smaller pieces, it feels much less intimidating, and the smaller actions are easier to start. Here's why this works. Once you get started, even on something small, it creates momentum. That first tiny step is usually the hardest, but once you're in motion, it becomes easier to keep going. Action breeds motivation, not the other way around. So start small and watch how that initial action leads to more progress than you expected. Step 2. Use the 5-minute rule. Another simple but effective strategy to stop procrastinating is using the 5-minute rule. Here's how it works. Tell yourself you're only going to work on the task for 5 minutes. That's it. After 5 minutes, if you really want to stop, you can. But here's the thing. Once you've started, you'll often find that it's not as bad as you thought, and you'll keep going. The 5-minute rule helps you overcome the initial resistance to starting. It tricks your brain into thinking, it's just 5 minutes, I can do that. And once you're engaged, you've already overcome the hardest part, getting started. You're much more likely to continue working on the task once those 5 minutes are up because you're in the flow. The power of this rule comes from lowering the barrier to entry. Instead of thinking, I have to work on this huge task for hours, you're telling yourself, I just need to start, and it's only 5 minutes. It makes starting feel less overwhelming, which is often all you need to break free from procrastination. Step 3. Focus on progress, not perfection. Perfectionism is one of the sneakiest causes of procrastination. If you're someone who feels like you have to do everything perfectly or not at all, you're probably putting off tasks because you're afraid of not doing them right. The fear of imperfection can paralyze you, making it impossible to even start. Here's the mindset shift that will change everything. Focus on progress, not perfection. Instead of trying to do everything flawlessly, give yourself permission to do it messily, to make mistakes, and to get things done imperfectly. Progress is what matters most. Every bit of effort moves you closer to the finish line. When you take the pressure off yourself to be perfect, you'll find it easier to start tasks and make progress. Remember, you can always go back and improve things later. The key is to get something down, to take action, and to make progress. Perfection is the enemy of progress, so let go of the need to do things perfectly and focus on moving forward. Step 4. Create accountability. Accountability is a powerful tool for beating procrastination. When you're the only one who knows about your task or goal, it's easy to push it off. But when you bring someone else into the mix, whether it's a friend, a colleague, or a mentor, you're much more likely to follow through. Why? Because we're wired to care about how others see us. If you tell someone you're going to do something, you create external pressure to get it done. There are different ways to create accountability. You can tell a friend about your goal and ask them to check in with you. You can set a deadline with your boss or coworker. You can even use apps or online communities where people share their progress and keep each other accountable. The key is to make sure someone else knows what you're supposed to be doing. When you create accountability, you add a layer of responsibility that makes it harder to procrastinate. You're no longer just letting yourself down if you delay. You're letting someone else down too. This external pressure can be exactly what you need to stop procrastinating and get moving. Step 5. Eliminate distractions. Let's be honest, one of the biggest reasons we procrastinate is because distractions are everywhere. Whether it's your phone, your email, or the TV, there's always something pulling your attention away from what you need to be doing. If you're serious about stopping procrastination, you need to get serious about eliminating distractions. Start by identifying your biggest distractions. Is it your phone? Turn on Do Not Disturb or use apps that block social media. Is it your workspace? Clean up the clutter and create a space where you can focus. Is it your environment? Find a quiet place to work where you won't be interrupted. Here's the thing. Your environment plays a huge role in your ability to focus. If you're constantly surrounded by distractions, it's going to be almost impossible to resist the urge to procrastinate. So, set yourself up for success by creating an environment that supports your focus and productivity. Step 6. Reward yourself for taking action. We're all wired to seek pleasure and avoid pain. That's why we procrastinate, because avoiding the task feels better in the moment than actually doing it. But what if you could flip that around? What if you could make taking action feel more rewarding? One way to do this is by setting up a system of rewards for yourself. After you complete a task, give yourself a small reward. It could be something as simple as taking a break, watching a video, or having a snack. The key is to create a positive association with taking action. When your brain starts to link action with pleasure, it becomes easier to stop procrastinating. Over time, you'll find that the action itself becomes its own reward. You'll start to feel a sense of accomplishment and pride each time you tackle a task, and that feeling will be more powerful than the temporary relief of avoiding it. Step 7. Let go of the all-or-nothing mentality. One of the biggest barriers to overcoming procrastination is the all-or-nothing mentality. You know the feeling. You think, if I can't do this perfectly or if I don't have time to finish the whole thing, why even start? This mindset keeps you stuck because you're waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, or the perfect energy level to take action. But here's the reality. The perfect moment doesn't exist. If you're waiting for the stars to align, you're going to keep procrastinating forever. The fastest way to stop procrastinating is to embrace the idea that something is better than nothing. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to get it perfect on the first try. Just do something, no matter how small, and you'll start building momentum. Let go of the idea that you need to finish the entire task in one sitting. Break it into chunks, take breaks when needed, and remember that progress, no matter how small, is still progress. Procrastination isn't your identity. So there you have it, everything you need to know to stop procrastinating and start taking action. The key takeaway here is this: procrastination isn't who you are. It's a habit, a behavior, and like any habit, it can be changed. You have the power to break free from the procrastination cycle and take control of your time, your focus, and your life. Remember, it all starts with that first small step. Break the task down, use the 5-minute rule, focus on progress over perfection, and set yourself up for success by eliminating distractions. Procrastination thrives in the gap between intention and action, so the faster you close that gap, the faster you'll start seeing results. No more waiting, no more delays. The time to act is now. You've got this.